up? Welcome back to my channel. Today is Vlogmas day 11. If you missed yesterday's video, I'll have it linked in the episode description down below, and we are going to be focusing today's video on how to use Google Keep. But without further ado, let's get started. All right, so I just went to keep.google.com and it took me to a blank page that looks like this. Now, if you've used Google Keep before, you will see that you have your sticky notes all across the screen here, but because I'm using Google Keep for the first time, this page here is completely blank. Now, in the middle, you'll see that there is a button that says take a note, ... and then there's a checkbox, a paintbrush, and an image icon. So for today's example, I'm going to be showing you how you can use Google Keep to create a to-do list. Now, Google Keep does have a variety of other functions, so I'd really recommend that you play around with it. Really, we're going to be looking at how teachers can use Google Keep to stay organized from the perspective of creating to-do lists. All right, so again, this big take a note button here, we have three options: a new list, a new note with a drawing, or a new note with an image. Because we're creating a to-do list, I do want to click on this option here that says new list, the checkbox. When I click on it, you'll see that now I have two categories, a place where I can type in a title and another place where I can type in a list item. So for example, let's say I want to create one that says today, and I want to start adding items to my to-do list. So maybe I need to grade assignments, maybe I need to take attendance, maybe I need to meet with my co-teacher, and maybe let's say we also have a faculty meeting. So now that I've added these different items to my to-do list, I can actually start customizing this sticky note. So at the bottom here, you'll see that we have a bunch of different icons. Now, what's great about Google Keep, like I said, is it has a variety of different features, but we're just going to go over the ones that I think are the most relevant to teachers who are trying to stay organized. So on the left-hand side here, we have a remind me button. Let's say, you have faculty meeting in 15 minutes and you want to have a notification go off that reminds you. You can do that by clicking this remind me button here. Now you can also add a collaborator. So let's say that everything on my to-do list right here, I want my co-teacher to also have access to. You can add a collaborator just like how you add somebody to contribute to a Google Doc or a Google Slides file. So all you need to do here is click add collaborator, and then you can actually share this to a person's email address. Next, we have changing the color. So I know tons and tons of teachers really love to keep things organized by changing colors, keeping things color coded. I know I do. So you do have the option here to actually color code these sticky notes. So you'll see right now the auto color here is white. You'll see that it's checked, but I can change this to be a different color. So for example, if I wanted today to be red, I could do that by clicking the red color. I'll stick with this yellow for now. So this is a nice way if you want to, say today is going to be yellow, maybe your to-do list for tomorrow, that'll be in orange. So you have a bunch of different colors you can choose from. Now you can also add an image. So let's say, you're very much a visual person and you want to have some sort of image attached to your sticky note. You can do that by clicking on this little image button here. Now, if you want to archive something, like let's say you don't want to delete it, but you don't want it to pop up on this main page here, you can archive it by clicking this archive button, and you'll see all of your archived Google Keep notes under this archive folder on the left-hand side. Next, we have the ... Now, I've said this in my previous videos. Anytime you see three dots like this, it means it's going to be a drop-down menu. So when you click on it, you'll see now that I have some options. I can delete the note, I can add a label, I can add a drawing to it. So let's say you want to actually draw with your mouse a little image to accompany this. You can do that by clicking add drawing. Now I can also make a copy. So let's say, my to-do list for today is the exact same as my to-do list for tomorrow. I can make a copy of this by clicking on the button that says make a copy. Next, we have hide checkboxes. So let's say I click that. Now I don't want to have any checkboxes here. I'll just click show checkboxes now so we can have it back. And then lastly, you can also click copy to Google Docs to actually add this to Google Docs. So that's another great feature. Not one that I use too often, but it is nice knowing that it is available. All right, so one other cool feature that I want to show you, and it actually says it here at the bottom, is that you can indent. So let's say, for example, you want to have a main category, right? So let's say I want to have a category for my meetings. I can actually create a new list item, and I'm a Mac user, so I can click on Command and then one of these brackets to actually make a sub item on this specific to-do point on my to-do list. So I could say faculty meeting. I could say, again, command and then a bracket, meet with co-teacher, etc. So that is how you can add, even make this structure that much more organized. So I'll click got it since we figured that one out now. Now let's say I want to undo what I've just done. I can do that by clicking this button here that says undo. So it's a back arrow, meaning that we can undo it. All right, I think that this is good to go. So now I'm just going to click close, and you'll see that it's automatically saved for me to my Google Keep page. Now, I'm going to show you guys just how to create another one, and I'm going to give some suggestions for different categories that you might want to create for your Google Keep page. So again, I'll do another list. Maybe I want to say, have one for tomorrow. Item 1, item 2, item 3. You can change the color. Let's say, I think the example I gave earlier is have tomorrow be orange. All right, so now we have a category for today and tomorrow. These are two that I really love to have on my Google Keep. The way my brain is organized and the way my brain works is I really like to have, action items for today, and I know what to anticipate for tomorrow. So then when tomorrow comes, you can actually rename that title to say today, and you can archive the post or delete the post from today, or in that case, yesterday. Now, some other categories that might be helpful for teachers. It could be helpful for you to create a category for, let's say you want to have one that's related to school. So everything that's sort of not necessarily related to your class, but things that are just related to school in general. So these could be things, like upcoming deadlines or conferences, things that aren't necessarily today or tomorrow, but things that you do have to be thinking about in the future. So we've created one for school now. Maybe another one could be, let's say you have some sort of side business, maybe you tutor, maybe you do teachers pay teachers, you could have that here. So for example, I could say tutoring, and I could add my action items to my tutoring sticky note. Now I can color code this one, let's say green. Now, maybe you want to have one just for personal things. So you could say, have a category for personal. So here you could include if you need to do laundry, if you need to go grocery shopping, any other sort of reminders that you think might be helpful from the personal perspective. So I might make personal purple, let's say. And so now you'll see that all of these sticky notes are starting to add up. And what I think is just so helpful about Google Keep here is that it just really allows you to keep things organized in different categories. We're doing so much that is digital right now that it's really helpful to have some sort of digital organization, just like how you might have a physical planner that helps you with organization using pen and paper. This is a really nice digital alternative. Now, one thing you'll start to notice is that as I start adding more and more sticky notes, they sort of start to go to the bottom, right? So the original one that I created was today. And so now as new posts start to appear, those will appear at the top, pushing today down to the bottom. You do have the option in Google Keep to actually pin something, meaning that it will actually keep it up at the top for you. So if I want to pin today, I can do that just by hovering my mouse over it and then clicking on the little push pin in the top right-hand corner that says pin note. So when I click on it, now you'll see that all of my pinned sticky notes are at the top. So pinning and unpinning is just another helpful feature for you to stay organized as you want to create your to-do lists. A few things I want to show you. On the left-hand side here, right now we're under notes. So this is the page that we've been looking at so far. All of your notes, all of your Google Keep sticky notes are all under this Notes tab. Below it, we have reminders. So if you had a note that had an upcoming reminder, that would actually appear here. So if you were looking to see, okay, what reminders do I have coming up? You can check that by clicking on this reminders button. Next, we have editing labels. So let's say you want to edit a label. Let's say I wanted to create one for meetings. Click done. What I can do is, let's say I want school to actually be, in my meetings label here. I can click on the drop-down menu, the dot, and I can click on the button that says add label. Then I can check on the checkbox where it says meetings. And so now this is actually categorized under the meetings label. So that's just one additional step that you can take to keep this more organized. For me, I personally don't use the labels very often. I like to keep my, Google Keep really just organized with the main things I need to be thinking about right now. But if you do want to use labels to stay organized, you do have the ability to do that. So to archive something, you're gonna click on this little button here that says archive. It is the 5th button here. So I'll click on it, and now under archive, you'll see all of your archived pins. So what's nice about archiving things is that if you don't want to delete them forever, you can put them under the archive category. So after you archive something, you can actually bring it back. To do that, you're now just going to click on the 5th button here, which now says unarchive. So if you noticed before, it was a down arrow that said archive. Now this icon is an upwards arrow that says unarchive. So when I click on it, it has now been taken back to my Google Keep Notes page. All right, so now at the top, you'll see that we do have some additional categories. So we just went through all of the categories on the left-hand side, and there are a few other options that I'd like to show you at the top. So this button right here with a little arrow, curved arrow, says refresh. So if you'd like to refresh your Google Keep, you can do that by clicking the refresh button. Now next, you can actually change the view on how these sticky notes are organized. So right now, I sort of have it in this grid view here where you can see all of the different sticky notes, but you can change it to list view so that it's more of like stream of consciousness style, kind of like a Facebook news feed, where you can actually scroll and see all of your notes lined up there. I like grid view, but ultimately it's up to you based off how your brain is wired. Thank you so much for watching today's video on how to use Google Keep to stay organized. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe if you're not already. Give me a thumbs up. I post weekly tech tutorials for teachers, and I'll see you back here soon. Bye, friends.